and some chopped nuts. That's what
That's
you
in
get.
Italy?
That's just 2 beers. You order 2 beers. That's what they bring me. And the guy who brought it to me has health care. So
Nice.
that's why I liked it. Oh, man, I can't believe I can't find that video. Let me see. Hang on. Why can't I find this?
Stand by,
Okay.
please.
I know. It's live. That's why.
It's our
Okay.
chatter day. It's a casual atmosphere,
very
JD,
casual.
so don't sweat it.
Okay. It'll be worth it. Believe me.
Somebody just said, "Nice job?" Question mark. Nice job, Zero.
Am I on the wrong internet? Yeah. God damn it. See, I'm on the wrong internet. Can you help try to find that video? You know, it's on Super Deluxe on YouTube.
All right. Ron's on it.
All day, trolls just drilled me all day, all day.
Chambers, $15 an hour is a red herring. We need pay pair. Legrand Larrabee. A lot of shows were talking about what Jimmy said. He clearly meant something other than his words, also retracted it, news and their sound bites. Interesting. But Legrand, they make a lot of videos about Jimmy. So
You're talking about the haters.
But
making...
yeah, that's funny. That's
Yeah.
funny.
So I
You
said
ready?
the other day, I think last week
Back
on
to
my
JD.
live stream, I said that the people we're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, and I had just gotten through a bunch of smears on her that she was somehow a racist because David Duke tweeted out something, and the way people were disingenuously reporting that. And so I was in that kind of a heated up mood of all the people that were smearing her.
Sorry. I don't know. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I did this.
And so somebody asked, what about India and Modi? And I'm like, and I said, I don't care about India. Oh boy, that triggered a lot of people. That triggered a lot of people.
This clip is rich.
All right, well, let's just play this because this is really part of our core brand proposition, too. I give you Jimmy Dore upon the announcement of Tulsi Gabbard.
Have you seen The Intercept and the Humanist Report coverage of Tulsi? I love Tulsi, but if you read these pieces, you will learn some uncomfortable truth that true lefty indie and journalists have pointed out. Looking forward to it, Lorraine. We're all about reading about Tulsi and learning more about her. Because Tulsi identifies Hindu, I need to hear from her about her stance on Modi fascism, Islamophobia, imperialism in Kashmir, and whether she agrees morally with the caste system that is incredibly sexist against women. Thanks for the donation. I don't have any answers.
I can tell you one thing. If there's one thing I couldn't care less about, it's what's happening in India. Is that wrong of me to not care? I mean, how does that affect me? Yeah, there's lots of bad governments all around the world. Why should I give a shit about another one? I don't understand. Right? Isn't that like saying, hey, Assad's not a good guy, and so we should have troops there? I don't understand. None of them are good guys. Look what fucking Israel's doing to medics on their border. That's our ally. Turkey's our ally. Look what we're doing in Yemen with our ally Saudi Arabia. I mean, so this idea of somehow the people they got her because she likes a guy, and we're in fucking bed with Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's just ridiculous. So you can have a different litmus test now for her than you have for every other fucking president, including Barack Obama?
So why do you oppose all those other governments, fucking moron?
Why do you care what happens in Yemen?
Now, hold on one
that is
second.
immoral
I just want to make
as it is
sure.
stupid.
That's not their version of their parody show, right?
Jimmy Dore is responding to a question by a viewer.
Yeah, it's
and the
like
viewer is actually raising questions about Tulsi's past and about her affiliation with far-right governments.
Trying to be an informed voter.
Exactly. He began by saying, couldn't care less about what's happening in India.
That's what one of his personalities said. Go ahead. Sorry.
Couldn't care less about what's happening in India. Why should I? Do you see like where we are, what we're doing in Afghanistan? Do you see like we're one of our allies is Saudi Arabia, and what we're doing in Yemen? Should we have a different litmus test for her than we do for somebody like Barack Obama?
Does he realize he contradicted himself when he said, should I feel bad for not caring that there's bad dictators? It doesn't affect me. But then immediately pivot to look what we're doing in Yemen and look what we're doing in Saudi Arabia. You're pointing to
our affiliation,
with dictators. Like, this dude is seriously disjointed.
And what I meant was, the United States is in bed with 70% of the world's dictators. Okay? So when we're... that's what I meant by that. So if you're going to... Why are we using a special test for her? Every president's in bed with freaking murderous dictators. It's by definition, you become the president of the United States, you're in bed with Saudi Arabia, the exporters of Wahhabism all across the Middle East. What are you talking about? They're committing a genocide in Yemen right now with our help. We did Libya. What the fuck? There's someone worse than us? That was my point of all that. It wasn't that. So that was my point of all that. And so people using that to dismiss her, that's what I, and I was in a worked up emotional state. So... a lot. And so now the haters making videos. And I got to tell you, the day they stop making videos is going to be a sad day for me. Because I know it's happening.
Then if they stop making videos about you, Jimmy, then you're on the wrong side of issues.
I know. Look what they're doing to Bernie Sanders. Look what they do to Jill Stein. Look what they did. As soon as they stop talking about us, we don't matter. So here's that video.
Trump's in a lot of trouble. It's a sign of a terrified old man who feels the walls closing in. The walls
are increasingly
closing in on him.
Tonight, the walls
are closing in.
Today changed everything. This is the beginning of...
Okay, I don't know where that's coming from. Hold on.
This is the magic of the live show, ladies and gents.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're back.
Donald Trump's done. He's done. There's no question about that. He's done.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
A turning point.
We're at a turning point here.
The beginning of the end for the Trump presidency.
The beginning of the end.
And breaking news.
We have another bombshell.
Mike Pence might have to assume the office of the presidency.
The call for impeachment.
Rumblings of the word impeachment.
Breaking news.
Another bombshell out of the White House.
I believe this is the beginning of the end.
I do too.
It's really the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
He may be feeling the walls closing in on him.
All the walls closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
The beginning of the end of the Trump presidency.
Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
It's the beginning of the end.
It reminds me a lot of the last days of Nixon.
Breaking news tonight, new bombshell.
This is the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
A few moments later.
Tonight, the walls
are closing in.
Today changed everything. This is the beginning
of the end.
Today, the biggest
tipping point for the Trump administration.
What a historic day. The bombshells, they fell.
It's entropy and it's crumbling internally.
He's underwater. He feels the walls closing in.
Could his testimony be a turning point?
We may be at a tipping point.
It's the beginning of
the end.
The beginning
of the end.
Another bombshell.
Bombshell. Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell.
Bombshell. Bombshell.
Bombshell. This is a bombshell. It is a bombshell.
I am beginning to resent the word bombshell.
Next to Joyanne Reed, she couldn't be. She's more discredited than Alex Jones, for F's sake, and she still has her own show on MSNBC. She's just a joke of a human being, let alone a fucking reporter. Yet they still keep her. Isn't that amazing?
I don't agree with everything you said there in terms of your characterization of Joy.
I know you need. I know you're a real journalist. You have to distance yourself.
and Chris, I don't think has a penthouse apartment. But the point is,
you think it's on the ground floor? What do you think his fucking apartment is?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. It fucking matters. Where do you think his apartment is? Do you think his apartment's in the blue collar area of New York?
I think we agree that to be a part of the system, no
function and massive disinformation and massive misinformation, and it seems to me that's where we're at today.
When I got into the FBI, it was our mission to keep these people, progressives, out of government. The assistant director of the FBI just told you that your own government is working against its own citizens to keep them out of government. He said the electorate is now putting more of these progressives into power. He said the electorate, that's you, the citizens, are expressing themselves through the poll, through the ballot box. You know, the thing that's sacred in America, that we get to vote. One man, one vote. We have a democracy, a representative republic. He's saying it was his job. Somebody inside the government decided that a lot of people who are citizens don't get to have representation in the government. Who said that? The fucking BI does that. That's who these people are, you numbskulls. Asswipes on the left. Even YouTubers tweeting out praise for Mueller and, we're going to have a rally for Mueller. What a waste. What a waste. You use a YouTube show to prop up the FBI? What a fucking silly human being.
All I can taste is the saltiness